Good morning. It's hump day. Mike. So this shows you that not every morning goes perfectly, as it's 6 o'clock when I'm doing my video. So I don't know if my alarm didn't go off or went off and I turned it off. I didn't have the greatest night's sleep. So not every night I wake up at 4:30 and everything's perfect. Some days it doesn't work out. So we always wait too long to make decisions. I think. So if you read Jack Welch's book, the guy who was CEO of GE for a long time, he's considered to be, kind of a business legend. The one thing I think you get out of the book is he says, in retrospect, if I'd have done anything differently, I would have made my decisions faster. That, some decisions were right and some were wrong. But the way to figure it out is to actually make the decision and move forward, and then you'll know whether or not you did the right thing. And waiting longer, rarely do you get some great piece of information that makes a difference. Once in a while it happens, but for the most part, when it comes to a major decision, we wait too long. I mean, think about it. How many of us have been in a relationship that we stayed too long, and when we got out of, we went, Jesus, why did I wait that long to get out of that relationship? Or when it comes to investing money, or when it comes to changing jobs, whatever it is, when it comes to a major decision, almost always we take too long to make the decision. There's a great story about the general who was deciding which direction that the Navy was going to go in terms of its airplanes. Were they going to go with an airplane like what the Russians have, the Russian MiG, which is a small jet that is much more maneuverable and it's faster initially, but it doesn't have the same payload and it doesn't have the same distance? Or were they going to go with the type of jet that they ultimately did go with, which is the F series? And those jets were a lot bigger. They had bigger payloads and they could fly larger distances, but they weren't as maneuverable. They were a little bit bigger and clunkier. So they did huge amounts of research deciding which one of these jets they should use. And when they went and presented it to the general, he listened to it for a period of time, about 20 minutes, and then said, you know what, I'm going to go in this direction. One of the people that were making that presentation was Colin Powell, and he's the one that I heard tell this story. And Colin Powell went up to the general afterwards and he said, how did you know which of those planes to pick? I mean, there's so many pros and cons, and we've done so much research. And the general says, I don't. I have no idea which plane to pick. And then he goes, well, how did you decide? And the general said, I decided because I know that the only way for us to figure this out is to get out there and use the planes. And if I'm right, then we'll know it that much quicker. And if I'm wrong, then we'll know it that much quicker, and we can change our approach and go and do something differently. Turned out that the plane that the general picked was right. And the only reason he picked it is because he decided to do the opposite of what the Russians did. That was it. And in the end, it turned out to be the way to go. The point is, when you got a big decision, you should go through the process. Remember that decision-making process that we went through, which is fantastic. You should go through the process and then decide and move forward. Because once you do that, you're going to figure out whether or not what you did was right or not. And you'll know. You'll know quickly whether or not you made the right move. And chances are the right move is to decide. And remember, not deciding is making a decision. That's deciding to not take a stance and decide on the issue, and that's the worst decision. The worst decision is to do nothing and sit there and try to figure it out and get stuck analyzing the situation. That's the worst way to go. So when you got something big, look back, look at the process that I went through with you. If that's something we want to go through again, we can do that again. But make your decision and move forward. Waiting is almost always something that you'll look back on and go, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I would have made my choice and moved forward in my life. Thanks for watching, everybody. Sorry I'm late. Things happen. Thank you very much for watching. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.